All right, good morning. It's another edition of another episode of Monday Morning Quarterback. As always, just your average Joe and my co-host, Mike DiStefano. But before we get into it, before we break down any of the NFL games yesterday, and of course the Monday night game last week of the Giants and Bucks, I do want to remind you, if you're watching the show, if you're watching the channel, and if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and please smash that like button. It is imperative for the YouTube algorithm. I want to get my videos out there. I want not only for the subscribers that are subscribed, but I want to generate a new audience. I want to reach out to more people. Your likes, your comments, and your views help that out tremendously.
And also click the notification as well. That helps to let you people know when we're going on.
Thank you for that reminder, Mike. Yes, hit that notification bell if you want to be notified either daily or weekly when I'm about to come on. So,
and don't forget, guys, we also have social media. Joe, you're on Twitter, aren't you?
No, I actually deactivated my Twitter. I really found it. I found it pointless.
Okay.
And that's the funny thing. I always found it pointless, but I'm like, you know what? There's nothing wrong with branching out to a new social media platform, trying to get my name out there, trying to do whatever, but it's pointless. It was just political.
Actually, which I did. I actually just signed up for Paula.
I was looking at the other one. I was looking at MeWe. MeWe actually has better reviews than Parler. Parler, I heard, was
Parler's
glitchy.
getting more subscribers like crazy now because of Dan Bongino from Fox being part owner. Hey, Jedi, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. And thank you again for tuning into yesterday's show. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the comments as well. Please keep them coming.
So I'm on Paula now. So you can follow, if anybody wants to go on, sign up for Paula. They're a little more, how can I put it? They're a little more.
They're less restrictive on what you say. Yeah, they don't censor. I read the descriptions.
Yeah. Like if you post something, you're not going to be said that you're promoting propaganda or fake news or whatever. Right. So I just signed up on Saturday.
Yeah.
So if you want to follow me on there and join, I'm at AZBKLYN boy. So AZ Brooklyn boy.
Nice.
So so follow me on there. See, it looks like a good site. I mean, a lot of people, they want to do a mass exit of Facebook on the 13th. I'm thinking about it. I don't know if I want to leave Facebook or not.
I mean, I do my annual mass exit from Facebook. I most times, I took at one point almost a 2-year hiatus. And and I don't mind it. I really don't. The only reason why I joined back up with Facebook, or not joined back up, but the only reason why I reactivated my account was to promote the channel, promote the show.
So we could plug this. But I signed up for Paula. Like I said, it doesn't look that bad, so I'm gonna stick with them and see how it is. So, like I say, if you want to follow me there. Joe, I don't know if you're gonna sign up, but whatever.
I don't know. I think the last thing I need right now is another social platform. And now I'm just whatever. But let's get into football. Let's start talking about football, and let's start talking about that Monday night game last week. Giants versus Buccaneers. We all thought the Buccaneers would roll all over them. Nobody gave the Giants a shot. Nobody gave the Giants a chance. And look, I was as surprised as anybody. I did not expect what I saw.
I didn't expect that they were going to fight like that in the game.
No, and they held the Buccaneers out of the end zone for 3.5 quarters almost. Pretty much 3. I think they scored their first touchdown in 9 minutes in the third quarter. They led at 14-6 at half. Obviously some turnovers helped them out, but at the same time, their defense stood their ground, as they have been. But what have I said to you the last several weeks? Their defense only seems to play for like 3 quarters.
I told you they take naps at the end of at the end of each half. But no, I mean, honestly though, the referees, and I'm going to say this, these referees can take their fucking yellow flags and shove them up the goddamn assholes where I care. They did it again. They fucked us again. A fucking pass interference call. That was not a pass interference call.
Yeah. No, that was a stupid pass interference call. There was a lot of things that happened, penalty wise, either that shouldn't have been called or a penalty that should have been called. Then that they had the other stupid what do you call it, personal foul call that even the commentators said that should not have been called. The Buccaneer receiver lowered his crown and came at the Giant defender, lowering his helmet.
Yep.
What is any defender, Giants or not, what is any defender supposed to do at that moment to try to make a tackle? It's going to make it seem like you're going in head first, but it wasn't. The Buccaneer receiver lowered his shoulders, lowered his helmet, and did that to, I guess to either absorb the impact, whatever it was. But, and again, like I said, the commentators had said it, even the analysts had said it, the expert, that should not have been called.
Yep, it should have never been called. And worse enough, they get called for that pass interference, and then on the 2-point conversion, there was the pass interference.
Right.
And the refs are like, oh, there's no penalty. We didn't mean to throw the flag. I was like, it's 11:05 and the prostitute that Tom Brady for is playing in my hotel room. I mean,
it's absolutely, yeah.
I mean, that was a fucking pass interference.
It was a pass interference. First of all, and I don't care what they say, he never turned around. He never turned around to play the ball. Yes, the ball hit him in his arm, but that's when he actually turned, is when he hit his arm. It's like, oh shit, what just hit my arm? He was not looking at the quarterback. He was not looking at the ball, and he bumped into. Now, don't get me wrong, and I've said this, and everybody have said this. It was a bad throw. Daniel Jones should have led what was it, Lewis, right? Dion Lewis. Mm-hmm. Should have led Dion Lewis more towards the corner of the end zone. Instead, he threw it behind Lewis, so Lewis had to stop. So I understand that's why the Buccaneers defender bumped into him. However, that's still a pass interference. He bumped into him just before the ball got there. And he wasn't playing the ball. By definition, that is a pass interference.
Right. So it's a pass interference when we put a pinky on somebody's shoulder, but our guy gets ran over by a Mack truck and nothing is done.
And I'm tired of these other fucking offensive pass interferences or these other things called on the offenses. And it's not just the Giants. And it's like week after week I watch these games, whether it's the Giants or not. And I'm tired of hearing the commentators saying, I would have picked up that flag. It doesn't make any sense. The receiver was running a route. It was not a pick. There are instances where you can pick up on whether he's illegally picking a defender or running a route and the defender runs into him. And that happened with the tight end, Tagliavola, whatever his name is, for the Giants. He was called for, I think it's offensive pass interference, whatever it was called, but he didn't set up a pick. It's just whatever. Look, Giants held one of the better offenses in the league. Again, 3.5 quarters without a touchdown. They had the lead for almost the whole game. Buccaneers came back, took the lead. Giants drove down the field. Daniel Jones took his team with about 2 minutes or something to go and drove him down the field. He had a 4th and 16 he converted. That was like a miracle throw.
That was a shock. I was at, because I was watching the game on Yahoo Sports app, and I'm watching that. I'm like, what the fuck got into him today?
Yeah, no, he looked good. He did look good. I mean, granted, he had 2 interceptions. Again, 2, been very bad. And here's the other thing too. I've noticed, and I noticed this a lot in yesterday's game. I'm tired of the play fake, roll to your left, throw to the receiver, whether it's one of your running backs or your tight end, whatever you're throwing it to, and he doesn't even throw it anywhere near them. He throws it to the ground. He cannot roll to his left. I've noticed that for some reason, whenever he tries to roll, don't get me wrong, those interceptions that he threw, last week Monday night, was when he was rolling to his right. So I really don't know what the answer is then, but it's the same fucking. He did it, and it was back-to-back plays. They did it yesterday too, where they play fake, roll to the left, and he literally throws it to the fucking ground at the receiver's feet.
Do you notice that he's not running as much in the last 2 games for some strange reason?
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Gallman and even yesterday Morris have been actually running the ball better.
And Carl Banks actually, I was listening to the game on FAM, but Bob Popper and Carl Banks actually made the comment regarding Gallman, especially yesterday's game, saying how he actually does look better this year. And it's weird how Pat Shermer last year didn't want to use him as much as they wanted to this year.
When you had the option between Barkley and Gallman.
No, but Barkley was out a little bit last year.
If Barkley was out, then you have no excuse. And I don't know why they continue to go with Lewis. I don't know why they continue to go with Lewis. I would not even put Lewis in there anymore. I know he's a veteran. So is Morris, but I get it. I'm not saying anything bad about Lewis. I mean, Lewis had that touchdown catch against the Buccaneers. So, and he's a very good receiving halfback. But at the same point, yesterday was a perfect example. 4th and 1, they chose to go with Lewis, and he got stuffed. Had that been Gallman or even Morris now, I think they easily would have got it. Because a similar scenario. Now, I know it's not fourth down, but it was a 1st and goal on the 1 yard line, or I think it was the 1 yard line. They handed off to Gallman. He marched in like it was nothing. Now, I know there's 2 different scenarios. There's a lot more pressure. There's a lot more whatever on a 4th down play. I get it. But Lewis has, I feel like, even in earlier games, even way after Barkley went out, when they were when they were dividing up the plays, and they would go with Gallman would get like 4, 5, 6 yard run. They go with Lewis, he would either get 1 yard or nothing, or even lose yardage. And it was like a common theme. So I don't know why they continue to go with Lewis. And when did they get Morris?
I don't even know. Must have did it before the trade deadline.
I don't know. I know he was at one point a Redskin. I know that for a fact. I mean, they said it a couple of times in yesterday's game, but I remember when Morris was on the Redskins. He's a good veteran back, and who would have thought, again, the guy we get for a year, Devonta Freeman, and he's out. And it's just like, fuck, we can't catch a break in that position, in the running back position. And I think a lot of the reasons, and Jones has still been, he did it a couple of times, especially yesterday's game where he kept the ball and he ran it himself. But I don't think you're going to get like these 80-yard runs from him anymore, and they really shouldn't. You shouldn't. You have to protect your quarterback. If they lose,
you're not going to get that 80-yard, 21-mile-an-hour.
If they, the last thing they need right now, even at 2-7, is to lose your quarterback.
Well, even with that game that we're talking about, where he, who was that up against? Was that with Philly?
Which one? Which one are you talking about?
When he did that, when he ran the 80 yards going 21 miles an hour?
I'm almost positive it was Philly, yes.
I mean, even with the situation where it
was either Philly or Dallas. It was one of those games, but I'm pretty sure it was Philly.
I think it was Philly.
Yeah.
But even with that, like you said, you got to protect your quarterback. Even with that type of situation, when he lost his footing, he could have twisted an ankle.
Yeah.
He could have fell awkwardly and, hurt his ACL. He could have tore a quad. He could have done anything possible on that. I mean, he shouldn't be running 80 yards.
And the other thing is too, and I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that at times, it's not all the time. I think the offensive line improved a little bit with the pass protection.
Yeah, they're actually starting to look a little bit better the last couple of weeks.
But he does rush himself, and what happens when he rushes himself is not only he throws badly and throws an interception, but how many fucking times was either Slayton or Ingram wide open, and he either didn't throw it in that direction because he didn't see it, because he didn't let the play develop. The one interception that he had, at least one of the, I don't know if it happened on both interceptions, but the one interception that he had against the Buccaneers, he looked to his right, threw to his right, and on the left, Slayton was uncovered running down the line for an easy touchdown.
Yep.
And then also you had plays where he threw it to Slayton or Ingram, and they weren't on the same path. They weren't on the same wavelength, and he overthrew it by a good step or two. So, and that was very frustrating to watch when your receiver and your quarterback do not seem to be in sync, especially your quarterback. I mean, you need to sometimes let plays develop. You have enough time sometimes. I get it. I get you're pass rushed a lot. I get you're often sacked a lot too. But at the same time, let something develop.
How bad was that leg whip going into Allen yesterday?
It was bad. It was. I can understand what happened. I understand he was kind of pushed and he fell. But, I mean, that was a clear and obvious...
That's what he was doing. He was actually trying to tell the officials, you know the flag was thrown, you know the penalty was going to happen, but he was trying to explain himself, saying, hey, he pushed me.
Yeah.
I lost balance, and that's how I ended up into him.
But it's clear and obvious that he leg whips.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's no argument there. That was the right call. I get it. And look what happened. Kyle Allen went down. He was out. And now I don't know for how long. I don't know how bad the ankle injury is. But now you have Alex Smith, who, again, if it wasn't for him, we would lose. We would have lost that game. I don't know how many times he needed to give the ball back to us before we.
He gave us the ball enough.
Like he threw an interception. He threw two interceptions.
He looked like Jameis Winston yesterday. He just kept giving the ball to the defense.
I think he threw two interceptions under 2 minutes,
right? So.
Right, because we got the ball back. We couldn't fucking do anything with it. We couldn't move it to secure a fucking first down for our life. Give them the ball right back. And I'm like, all right, well, here we go. We're gonna fucking lose now. And he threw. Thank God. Yeah, threw another interception. But it's just it's week after week, and I'm like, in the beginning of the season, I was a little upset, and then I'm like, you know what am I going to do? They were projected to win 5 wins, for the whole season. They weren't projected to do well, but now these last few games, I'm yelling at the fucking television. I'm getting visibly frustrated and angry because I can see, especially from doing the show and the stats that we do and the stats that we talk about every week, I can see that if a couple of plays would have went a different way, or if they would have done this, or if they would have done that, they would not be 2-7. They would probably be 4-5, or even 5-4. To be honest with you, I honestly think they would be 5-4 right now. That's how good of a team they could be if they didn't have these mental mistakes.
No, of course not. I mean, they're just off somehow with it. They're just missing the points. But right now, we're at 2-7.
Yeah. And we play the Eagles. This is a big game now. This is the Eagles.
Yeah. So right now, if we play the Eagles, we'll be 3-7, and they'll be
3-5-1.
3-5-1.
Which is still a better record. It's still a better record. They'll still be ahead in the NFC. But the NFC East,
second place.
But we'd still be right there, and we wouldn't be 2-8, and whatever. So yes, it is a must win. It's a must win against the Eagles. It is. Every game is a must win now, honestly, if they want to do anything.
Especially to win that division.
Yeah.
We're done playing Washington. We beat. And that's the sad thing. Our 2 wins are up against Washington. That's it.
Well, so in yesterday's Fox pregame coverage, it was either the pregame or the halftime. Either one of them, but even still. So Strahan had made a comment, and he said, it's week after week. I don't know what to pick or what to do with this team. I want to have faith. I'm trying not to. Basically, I'm trying not to let my emotions get the best of me for being a former Giant. He said, but there are flashes. They show flashes of how good Daniel Jones can be or whatever, but then he does these mental, throw an interception or whatever. He goes to look.
It's like the same thing all around, though. Daniel Jones shows those parts of greatness that it could be, and then he does, all right, then all of a sudden, interception, sack, fumble. And the defense is the same way, though. The defense, all of a sudden, they look like a juggernaut where they're, sacking the quarterback left and right, and then the interceptions, and then the next minute, they're giving up a 75-yard drive in less than 5 minutes.
Or a pass interference by, what's that corner's name? Is it Bradbury? It's something like that, but he's been called for a few pass interferences now, and some of them are crucial. And I'm not saying all of them were worthy of a pass interference, but he's either being beat on the coverage or he just doesn't know what to do. And because sometimes he makes great plays. Don't get me wrong; he actually has been defending the ball and deflecting passes on a regular basis. But at the same time, then you have these stupid no-brain pass interferences, and what the fuck did you just do?
But it's the same thing all the way around. It's either Jones just goes mental a few minutes in the game where he's, throwing everything all over the place, and the defense is just, taking naps. Like we said, with like 5 minutes to go in the game.
Well, and then you got another situation. Now you have yesterday's game. Jones didn't turn the ball over at all. Now he fumbled twice, but he didn't lose the fumble. He didn't lose the ball. They recovered it. One of them went out of bounds because he was running with the ball. No turnovers. Doesn't throw an interception. Doesn't get strip sacked. The other team throws 3 interceptions, and they won by 3. And I'm not saying that, every time a team turns over the ball 3 or more times and the other team doesn't give the ball away, it should be lopsided. I'm not saying that, but at the same time, like, the Redskins almost fucking came back. I mean, they were down 20-3 at half.
Yep.
They were down 20-3. Your second half offense scored 3 points. That's horrible. That's horrible.
1 field goal. That was it afterwards.
And what do you think of Golden Tate? What do you think of his remarks and his comments that got him benched? Do you know the story behind that?
I don't even know. Like, you messaged me saying that Golden Tate was a piece of shit. And I'm not even knowing what the hell you're talking about.
Because I believe he was targeted 3 times in Monday night's game against the Bucs. Mm-hmm. He had that really good. I mean, it was a perfect pass too, but he had that really good pass by Jones for a touchdown in the game against the Buccaneers. I think it was like 19. I can't remember how deep it was, but it was like, I think it was like
Tate, so basically, did Golden Tate have a Keyshawn Johnson moment? Just say
he complained he wasn't getting targeted or he's getting the ball enough. Now, if you think about it, if you do take it in terms of targeting, he was targeted 3 times. He caught the ball twice and he had the touchdown. Like I said, I'm almost positive it was a 19-yard pass. Slayton, I believe, was targeted 10 times, and I think Engram as well. So I can understand where there was not enough distribution, but that doesn't mean when you try to. So here's what happens.
It doesn't matter with distribution.
Here's what happens. Here's what happens, and I'm agreeing with you. It's not about distribution. Here's what fucking happens when a quarterback is either pressured or tries to throw to a particular receiver in a given moment. You make a bad pass, and it's either an interception or whatever because you're looking or you're waiting for them to be open. Maybe he wasn't open.
It becomes an Odell moment, and that's what I've been saying about Odell.
Right.
Odell does the same thing. If he doesn't get the passes, he starts complaining. And then Baker starts throwing the passes to him, and then Baker looks shittier. Baker actually, if you look at Baker's stats, Baker is better without Odell than he is with Odell on the field.
I know, and we've talked about this. Yes, I agree. And
we talked about that. And the way that it was done. I mean, like Eli. When Eli was there before Odell came, the first time he was there, the first year, Eli was a very giving quarterback. Passes to Nick, passes to Victor, passes to whoever was open. That's who he threw to.
Yeah.
Then you got this kid over there saying, "I'm the next best thing," and then you're telling him, and then you're saying, "Well, you're going to give me the ball." And then Eli started looking shittier when Odell got there because Odell wanted the ball all the time and he kept complaining to Eli.
Yeah. And that's what happens with these receivers. They have an ego. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Golden Tate. I know Golden Tate is a very good receiver. It's probably one of their better receivers. Not taking anything away from Slayton. But that means also that if you are viewed as the better receiver, you're probably going to be covered a lot more than the other receivers.
Exactly. I mean, if you're going to look at it that way, I mean, like I said, it's not about who's your number one and who gets the passes.
It's who's open.
If Slayton's open, he's going to throw to Slayton. If Ingram's open, he's going to throw to Ingram. If you're double teamed, why would you throw to somebody with 2 guys covering you?
But the other thing is, like, he
wasn't... You got a 50-50 chance it's going to be an interception.
Right, but the other thing is, too, you have a touchdown reception for that game. You actually had a pass in that game. There was a handoff to Golden Tate, and he threw the ball.
Right.
There's got to be a reason why you weren't targeted more. I'm sure it wasn't personal. And, like, to call the Giants out...
Personal.
So they took him out. They put in Mac, and Mac actually had a decent game.
What exactly did he say, though, in the comments?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know the quotes. All I know is that he what do you call it? He spoke out about his displeasure of being underutilized. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what he said word for word. I don't know if it was a jab at Daniel. I don't know if it was a jab at Judge, and the play calling. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a stab at Garrett. I have no idea.
Well, I stab at Garrett every fucking chance.
No, but again, I don't know who does that. I don't know who decides what and whatever. And again, I would assume as the quarterback, yes, you have a play design pre-snap. You have a general consensus of who you're going to probably throw it to, but you also have to go by who's going to be open. So maybe the plays didn't develop the way they were supposed to post-snap, after the snap. Now you have to make another decision. You have to throw the ball. But if you're, again, like I said, if you're only looking at one receiver and not the other guys on the field, there's a problem. That's an issue, because more times than none, it's going to either turn out to be either a turnover, which you don't want, or just an incomplete pass, or even a sack because you held on to the ball too long, waiting for that player to get open. So I don't know. I don't know what it was. But look, he was benched. They put in Mac in his place, and Mac had a decent game. It's, again, the Jones didn't really have an overwhelming offensive performance in yesterday's game. What do you have? 212 yards with a touchdown. But he was sacked 5 fucking times too. That's a lot of times to get sacked, and I'm sure he was pressured. I'm sure he was hit more than that. But they got to him at 5 times. And then, as I said, Gallman had that touchdown, the easy touchdown, because they were right on the goal line. But him and Morris ran for 68 and 67 yards respectively, and Morris had a 20-yard run. He had a big run in one of those runs was a 20-yard run. So Morris looked good too. And again, it's against the Redskins. And again, their 2 wins have come from Washington. So too bad they can't play Washington 16 games of the week. 16 games in the season.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I seem like I'm a little.
You looking at stats?
Yeah, no, I'm actually looking for the story about Golden Tate and what he said. And only thing they're saying here is that he wasn't accompanying the team on the trip, and that he's inactive for Sunday's game. So there's no major story here saying that what he said. I mean, I wish I had another thing to look at to see what the hell they're talking about. I mean, that's one thing I hate about reading the news stuff from the NFL. Yeah, is that they don't tell you what happened.
Well, really quick, because I was about to look that up too, but really quick, the other thing is too, you got to think of, like, I know Alex Smith threw the 3 interceptions, and the final interception sealed the game for the Giants, which was good, but he did throw for 325 yards. He did bring his team back in 3 quarters. Because remember, he came in. I can't remember if it was late the first quarter or some point in the first quarter, because Kyle Allen was the starter. But how about fucking Cam Sims? It was every fucking pass, and one of them was a 45-yard completion too. Cam Sims finished with 110. McLaurin finished with 115, and he had that touchdown pass. The touchdown pass, I think, was the 68-yarder. Or no. I don't know if that. No. I don't think it was a 68-yard pass. But one of his receptions was a 68-yard pass to McLaurin. So these guys were not only open in Cam Sims and McLaurin, but they were getting fucking bombs. They were throwing either deep passes or I you know what though? I think the McLaurin 68-yard reception was probably more yards after the catch. I think that was yak yards, because I don't think Alex Smith threw a 68-yard bomb. But I was just like, every fucking play, it was just like, 3rd and long, whatever, and he finds Sims or find McLaurin. And I'm like, what the fuck? What is going on with our secondary? Like, where are these gaps? Where are these holes that these two receivers are getting all these yards? And again, that's what we have said time and time again. They take a nap, either the second half or the fourth quarter exclusively, and they just allow these teams to either come back or bring the game closer than it should be. With 3 interceptions, right? And again, I know the 2 of the interceptions came late in the game, but with 3 interceptions, this game should not have been that close. It shouldn't have been that close.
No, I mean, it shouldn't have. I mean, it should have been, I don't know.
Like they played like trash. The Redskins played like trash.
The defense takes a nap. Oh, and this is, all right, I found the story here, Joe.
Okay.
All right. So after catching the touchdown up against Tampa Bay last week in the fourth quarter, he looked into the television camera and yelled, he had a Keyshawn moment. He said, "Throw me the damn ball."
Right.
So he actually did say what I was what I thought he would have, what I was thinking he was going, what the comment was basically saying that he wants to have the ball thrown to him more. So
yeah, he did what every other fucking receiver does. Keyshawn Johnson, fucking Terrell Owens, throw me the ball, and again, I'm not saying that stars like that, I'm not saying guys with talent like that should not have the ball thrown to them. That's not what you're paying the money for. You're not paying the millions of dollars.
I wonder if Colt McCoy comes in to replace Daniel Jones. Let's do a hypothetical here.
Yeah.
Colt McCoy comes in, starts throwing the ball to Tate next week.
Yeah.
Getting touchdowns. And this Tate after that game going, "That's my quarterback. That's my quarterback."
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
Fucking T.O.
All right.
So like I said, sorry for my lapse, but you guys, those when these eyes start wandering, I'm not on camera. I'm on websites looking for stats and stories and stuff.
All right, so let's quickly go over other games. I'm not going to stay on the games too long, but let's just go over the games.
Can we talk about the ass beating Tom Brady got last night?
Well, obviously that's the last game we're going to cover because that was the Sunday night game. But let's start really quick with the 49ers and Packers game last Thursday night. So Packers won convincingly, 34-17. Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns. But what did you tell me? You told me that you think is that something that you think, or is that something that was said about Garoppolo being done in San Francisco?
Well, I'm hearing something because they actually signed another quarterback. What was his name? Johnson, Justin Johnson, Josh Johnson. But this guy's been around for like 13 years, and he's been with
Josh Johnson. Is that the former Redskin? The former Redskin quarterback?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And actually, he was playing in the XFL last year.
I didn't know that. Well, I don't think that's to replace Garoppolo. I think that's just to have better options other than Nick Mullins for when Garoppolo's hurt.
Well, I mean, I heard a few stories saying there's Jimmy G done. And if he is, I mean, I'm thinking, I mean, if San Francisco do break ties with him, wouldn't it be ironic if Bill Belichick signs him again?
I don't know. I don't know if he would.
Just to fuck with Tom Brady.
But the thing is, I think, like, who's responsible for that trade? Was it Brady or was it Belichick?
Brady. Brady didn't want him. Because Brady knew what they were doing.
If that's the case, then I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But that's if they cut ties.
It's kind of like when Aaron Rodgers got signed with Favre, and Favre's like, shit, I'm done.
I don't know. I guess we'll. I mean, how much longer is Garoppolo going to be out from this injury? To begin with,
I don't even know. I mean, but I could see if San Francisco wants to go, hey, You got us to a Super Bowl. We tried. Thanks a lot. See you. See you when I see you.
Yeah, it got us to a Super Bowl, and then he literally did nothing in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. And then I wouldn't put it past after the season right now that they're having with Cam. I wouldn't put it past Belichick, just despite Brady.
Yeah.
To sign this guy.
I wouldn't be again. And look, it's not like it wouldn't be a bad move either. He probably would do a lot better in New England anyway. Certainly a lot better than what Cam Newton's doing.
I mean, that was the whole plan. I mean, you figure, Garoppolo basically, he would have been sitting out for about 5 years, though.
Yeah, and that was the right move to do for him because he wasn't good. Yeah, but then again, you didn't know that Tom Brady was going to be leaving.
Well, who knew? A few years later that would have happened. But
yeah,
I mean, I could see it done though, where Belichick was saying, if he finds out that he's available, give him a call, going, "Hey, Jimmy, it wasn't me, it was Tom. That Tom didn't want you here.
Yeah,
I'm willing to give you a chance. You want to, I'll sign you for a couple of years. Let's see where we go."
All right. Now we got the
Broncos going nowhere.
The Broncos losing to the Falcons. Now, Falcons got a little bit of a winning streak going on now. Now they're 3-6.
Falcons is surprising me a little bit with this little run they got going.
Yeah, because the Broncos were starting to do that too before this loss. The Broncos also starting to win as well. But at the same time, I don't know. 34 points the Falcons put up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't have, and again, I probably wouldn't have touched this game to begin with.
Matt Ryan's actually starting to get a little life put back in him.
284 yards, 3 touchdowns. Not bad. That's not bad at all.
I mean, they're 3-6. I mean, there's no way they're going to catch up to a playoff spot. I mean, unless they really 3-6 is 9, and then they got to win stuff. So 10-6.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't see them winning.
No, even if they win out. Even if they win out,
play the Buccaneers and the Saints again.
Yeah, no. Even if they win out, they still don't secure. Not with 6 losses. Seahawks losing to the Bills. What's your?
It.
I mean, I love it too. And I was if I had to pick a game, or I should say, if I had to pick a team that I would have wanted to win, it would be the Bills. Allen looked like Allen again. He had 415 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wilson had 2 picks. So.
Wilson now has 7 picks for the season.
Yeah. They still scored 34 points against the Buffalo defense. Yeah, but it was a shootout. It was a shootout, and Allen and the Bills won.
Well, Pete Carroll even said it. He goes, they didn't run. They were looking for them to be running the ball more, and all of a sudden, Josh Allen just started throwing bombs left and right, and it worked.
And look, and there's no surprise. It's not a surprise that the Bills scored 44 points against the Seahawks defense, because this Seahawks defense, as we said time and time again, week after week, they give up a lot of points. They do, but they're usually able to match it with Wilson and his, and DK Metcalf and things they can do, but just not again, not yesterday. And Allen ended up winning the shootout, and now the Bills are 7-2. And you got the Seahawks at 6-2, which still isn't bad.
Yeah.
But all right, now we got to talk about this. We have to. Bears now lost 3 straight. They're 5-4. I mean, they lost to the Titans. Don't get me wrong. The Titans are still.
Titans are still a good team.
Yeah.
I mean, they just had a couple hiccups along the way with the COVID thing, and then playing all those games. And
yeah, the 2 losses that they did have were kind of shocking, to be honest, after they were playing so well, the Titans. But what was it? So you got the Bears had just 3 straight loss. And Henry didn't actually have a big game.
And he didn't. I mean, I watched some of the replays on it.
No. Tannehill, I think 2 touchdowns, right?
I think they only showed 1 play with Henry, and that was it.
And Tannehill had the 2 touchdowns. He threw 2 touchdown passes. I mean, they only scored 17 points. I'm sorry. They scored 24 points, but I think Tannehill only had 2 touchdowns, right?
I think so.
And they're talking about, and there was one of the things, I don't know if it was just an article that was pondering the question, but I think they're starting to lean towards, if he's healthy, bringing in Trubisky back.
You think this? I
mean, I don't know. Again, here we go. Here's another game where
but that's the whole thing. Is this going to be
the Bears scored all 17 points in the fourth quarter? If I'm not mistaken. I'm almost positive. Now, I don't have that written down. I'm almost positive I remember that from just memory of looking at the stats yesterday. The box scores. And it was just like another one of those, here we go. Okay, now you got Nick Foles. Now you got to do like these late game heroics. And they just, they fall short, obviously. They fell short by 7 points. But, I mean, what are you doing for the other 3 quarters? What are you doing? So, either way. All right, now Ravens against the Colts. Now, I would have picked the Colts to win because of what Lamar Jackson's been showing me and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, they're both very good defenses. I thought the Colts had the edge. The Ravens ended up winning by 2 touchdowns. They won 24-10. What is your take on that? I know Lamar. Now Jackson really didn't do much in the air, but he had the rushing touchdown.
Yeah, one rushing touchdown. All right, big whoop.
And but his attempts and completion ratio percentage was actually not bad. He didn't throw that many passes either. He threw for 170 yards. I think he went maybe 22 attempts. I think. I'm not, again, that's from memory. I don't have that written down. Mm-hmm. So he didn't throw the ball that much either. So, and that's a big win, especially against the Colts. It's a big win for the Ravens.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, you're playing one of the best defenses. I mean...
Well, let's now the next game is a game that almost turned out to be a huge upset, and that's the Panthers and Chiefs.
Oh,
like what the fuck is with this Panthers team? I can't fathom it. I don't know which Bridgewater we're gonna get. I don't know what we're gonna get.
Well, Christian McCaffrey came back this week.
Oh, that's right. McCaffrey's back now too, so that's even more. But hold on a second.
They were missing the whole time, Christian.
They're the replacement. No, Moore is a receiver. Who was the guy that was running in place of McCaffrey?
I have no idea.
It doesn't matter. You know what? It doesn't matter. But McCaffrey,
McCaffrey's back, and
McCaffrey now, being back helps them a lot.
Jesus, and you know me, I got the guy next door. And all I heard was screaming all day because they were. Oh God, I was like.
Look, they had a chance. They had a chance to come back. They were down by 1 point. They had a chance. They could have gotten closer and went for that field goal. I watched the game. It was just horrible. And then they ended up attempting a 67-yard kick. At that point you're like, fuck it, let's just try it. I mean, that would have been the NFL record.
Right, it would have been the record of they tried it last week too at there was another game they were actually trying to do the record. I think it was a 68-yarder. I forgot what team it was.
Unbelievable! Like they couldn't get get 5 yards, 7 yards closer. They just couldn't do it.
Is it me or is Patrick Mahomes just having an like I don't know? Is it the Super Bowl hangover thing? Because
I don't think so. No, hold on.
He has not. I mean,
no.
He does not look like the Patrick Mahomes.
No, let me explain something though. So you got Bridgewater had I think either 310 or 316 because I wrote really small. Right? We'll just say 310. He had Teddy threw for 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mahomes 372, 4 touchdowns. That loss was not on Mahomes.
I'm not saying that though. I'm just saying. You think about some of the games that they won and lost this year.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the Charger game when they won in overtime.
Yeah.
I'm talking about some of the close calls. And there was another little bit of controversy.
And look at that Jets game. That Jets game was way too close to call.
You're playing the fucking Jets. I mean, okay, that's what I said last week.
I didn't catch this. I did not catch this because I don't follow the Jets, so I don't watch their home games in general, whatever. But I think 3 or 4 years ago, a scene went viral where they were all celebrating. They were all dancing on the field, right? I don't know if it was against the Chiefs. I don't know.
Joey's doing a touchdown dance.
I don't know what the Jets were doing, but they were doing like all these wacky dances in the middle of a game, right? Whatever, on the field. After the Chiefs were winning in that game against the Jets a week ago or so, they started doing the same thing to make fun of them.
They were just happy they scored. That's what happened,
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is though, like right, forget about the Jet game. I mean,
no, I understand that, but Mahomes in yesterday's loss,
a local high school team right now can beat the New York Jets.
I'm not yesterday's loss. In yesterday's, if they were to have lost yesterday, that would not have been a Mahomes. I mean, when a quarterback throws 4 touchdown passes, that's not on them. That was just a shootout, and that's your defense. That's your defense allowing 33 points. Okay. But their defense did come through in the final drive of the game because all the Panthers needed to do was maybe get an extra 10 yards, and they tried like 3 times. They couldn't do it. They couldn't move the ball. And they also didn't have any timeouts, so they had to throw. That also hurt them. They had to go sideline. They had to go sideline.
They had to rush the whole thing.
All right,
but
next.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't. I hate 2 for 370, but still, I mean, they're not looking like they're not looking like they were last year.
Hey, they're still 8-1.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They're still 8-1.
All right.
I mean, I agree with you, but 8-1 is nothing to,
No, nothing to sneeze at, but I'm just saying, you're not gonna, now especially this year, now you're not gonna get that second.
The only thing I can think of, the only thing I can say is, and in agreement with what you're saying is, you have to question some of the games they did win. Because if they were having problems with some of the teams that they did, like the Chargers, and a couple other teams that played them very well, I can see where you're going with that. That's something that you need to think about heading into the playoffs. But again, still 8-1 is 8-1.
Right.
And the only team better than them right now is the 8-0 Steelers. That's it.
And not for nothing. Hate this. Just a side thing.
We'll get to it when we get to the Steelers game.
Pat Mahomes' mom is a MILF.
Oh, really?
She is a hottie.
I gotta look her up.
She's a hottie.
I gotta look her up.
No, she did something and she made some comments on her Instagram page.
Okay.
But then I saw pictures of her and I'm like, damn.
I'm gonna look her up. I think you know what? I think I do know what she looks like, but I wanna remind myself. So I'm gonna remind myself later alone.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So Bobby Mahomes is at MIO.
Now you got the next game. You got the bottom dwellers, but it's it's still a close game. Well, not really a close game. It's still another 14-point win, but the Lions and Vikings. Now the Vikings are starting to win now. They're starting to play. They're starting to play like the Lions. Cousins had a decent game, but again, Dalvin Cook, 206 yards,
200 plus yards,
2 touchdowns. And I mean, Cousins didn't throw. Cousins still had 3 touchdown passes himself.
Yeah, Cousins actually didn't look too bad yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, let me ask you this.
But this late start, especially at 3-5,
is it time for Detroit to finally cut ties with
Stafford?
Matthew Stafford?
Well, I think
and look for another quarterback.
Look, they're both sitting at 3-5. The Lions and the Vikings. Not 3.
But the Lions. I mean, Matthew Stafford has been with.
Yes, I agree with you
for the longest time, and I mean, how many losing? I mean, it's kind of like Andy Dalton. You feel bad for the guy. He's been there for like what 10 years already.
Yeah,
and he's like, he's not doing anything.
I don't know. And the other thing is too, like, what are you going to get for him? Is it a trade you're talking about? Like, what? And I'm not saying that there are not teams that wouldn't want Matthew Stafford. Maybe Matthew Stafford would be better suited in a different system. You don't know that. I think Stafford is a really good quarterback, at least top 10. I like Stafford.
All right. When he left Georgia, he was a great quarterback, for playing for Georgia.
And for playing for the Lions, I think, I don't know how many seasons, I got to look it up. He went over 5,000 yards a couple of times at least. Yeah, in his career. But he also had Calvin Johnson.
Exactly.
So, when you got a guy like that's 8 feet tall in Megatron, I mean, that's always a plus.
Well, now they're doing the comparison with Metcalf over in Seattle with Megatron, and it's like...
Well, he's something special, and I've been saying that week after week. DK Metcalf is really good.
I know he is really good, but I mean, comparing him to Megatron, let's call
Now,
the Jets on that until he really gets like into Megatron numbers.
Now, going to our next game, I know it's literally the bottom barrel, Texans at Jags, but when did what happened with Minshew now? Because Luton.
Minshew, I think was benched, and I think they're trying to get.
They're going to bench it. All right. Well, Luton actually didn't do bad.
Yeah, I think they're giving Jake Luton a shot to see what they got for next year.
He went 304 yards, right?
He had a very good game.
304 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. And I do want to really quick, Sippy's Sports Show, first-time listener here. Well, thank you, and thank you for coming. We're talking about football, and we're just going over some of the games. Well, not some of the games. We're going over all of the games that happened yesterday really quick, and just, throwing over a little detail. We were just on the Texans and Jags. Obviously, the Texans won. They're now 2-6. Jags are 1-7. They drop. But they did debut Luton, gave him a shot, and as I was just saying, 304 yards, 1 touchdown. He did have a pick, but that's not bad for your debut.
No, not at all. I mean, I watched the highlights of him this morning. So, while drinking my coffee, and I was just like, wow, I said, is that Minshew? And then I'm like, who is that? And then I hear Luton. I go, who the hell is Luton? And then I'm going I'm on the NFL page, and I'm looking up the team, and I'm looking at the roster. I go, Luton. I said, Jake Luton? Who the hell is this fucking
Yeah, I
kid?
saw it in the scroll. When I was watching the Giants game, I think it was the Giants game. I was at the bottom of the screen. It said NFL debut. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? So I looked him up. I looked up the stats. They lost by 2 games. And again, I know the Texans were 1-6 at the time. Now they're 2-6. But the Texans are one of those teams where nobody predicted them to be that way. I know they lost Hopkins. That was a huge loss. Hold on. Which thoughts on December matchup? Chiefs versus Saints. December matchup? Is that a regular season game, or you're talking about a possible playoff game?
No. I think the Chiefs are playing the Saints, Joe.
All right. What week? What week is that?
Give me a second.
If I had to pick the top, look, after what the Saints did to Tampa Bay yesterday, first of all, I didn't expect that, and they played the Buccaneers very well twice now. So 2 of the 3 losses that the Buccaneers have gotten have been from the Saints, and both games against the Saints they played like shit. Brady especially. Brady threw 3 picks yesterday. I was going to get to that later, but we can talk about it now.
We're looking at December. It's a December 20th game.
Is that in New Orleans or in KC?
It will be at the Superdome.
All right. So we have said this before. Playing in the Dome is a different situation now. However, Saints have been playing very well at home. The Chiefs, we had just talked about it, have been questionable some games. Yesterday was a different story, even though they allowed so many points and almost lost to the Panthers. Mahomes still threw for 4 touchdowns and almost 400 yards. So he didn't have a bad game. But, I don't know if I had to call it now.
We're really jumping ahead to go. It's a month and a half away.
Right. But
the way, honestly, Sippy, the way I saw the way that the Saints defense handled Tom Brady yesterday, though.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good fucking game.
And again, the second,
it's going to be a good fucking game to watch.
It's the second time. Granted, it was the first game in the NFL season for the Bucs. New quarterback, new system. We expected maybe Brady would look a little rusty, but the Saints have played the Buccaneers, which is regarded as one of the better offenses in the league, extremely well. They won 38-3. That is insane. And to pick him off 3 times, that is a very and I believe
they were sacking him like crazy too.
Now, how healthy is Thomas right now? Because I know he played in yesterday's game, Joe Thomas for the Saints, because that's a big piece for Breeze to have as well. So there's a lot of variables to think about. But if I had to call it now, the Chiefs are 8-1. They are still 8-1. And I know they've had some close calls, yesterday included, against the Panthers. You can't allow 33 points and expect to win a game. But
wait, is Carolina's defense better than New
Orleans? No.
So if the Carolina defense
look at this. Hold on. He's a Chiefs fan who lives in Louisiana. And this game is hyped up here as possible. And they should be because both teams are playing really good.
That's funny as hell. I don't care. Sippy, I'm sorry. That's funny as hell. That was kind of like when you said when Nick being a Packer fan over there
in Chicago.
In Chicago.
Yeah. Well, there are people that live in North Chicago that actually are Packer fans because of the geography. There are Packer fans in Chicago.
Yeah, well, yeah, because what is it that Chicago?
He said he eats so much shit from these. Who that nation is?
Who that?
Look, I think if I had to call it now, I would give the edge to the Chiefs only because it's Mahomes. It's really is hard. I mean, it's just as hard to pick against Drew Brees. Don't get me wrong, especially after yesterday's win.
I'll tell you right now, going into that game, I think the spread alone is going to be probably New Orleans -3. I don't even think the spread would be that high for New Orleans. That's how tight this game is going to be.
I agree, it should be tight, and I really hope it's a good game. I hope it's not a blowout on either side.
But I hope it's good on both. Like you said, I don't want to see a shootout, but I want to see where, like, the defenses just go crazy, and then the offense starts rolling, and the defense comes back and starts knocking everybody out. But, I mean, really, you're looking at a month and a half away. You really don't know what the records are going to be.
The thing is, too...
you're looking at what? It's the 9th, 10th now, so you're looking about a month and a half still.
The thing is, too, and we've said this, Breeze has looked iffy at times. You know?
He has, but if you look at it, though, I mean,
so Sippy says, y'all got me as a subscriber. I appreciate that tremendously. We really do.
Click that thumbs up if you're really liking this.
No, and Sippy, look, every Monday morning we do this. That's why it's called Monday Morning Quarterback. We have been doing this for the last few weeks. Since week 2, we started late. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday we're going to talk about. And then every now and then we're going to do a pop-up show on Fridays or Saturdays just to talk about other sports, just a general sports.
We were a pop-up show on Friday, but somebody had to wait for a chair delivery.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. And like Sippy said, it is a tough game to predict. It is. And a lot of and that's the thing that we have come to know every week doing our picks. You know, we're not professional analysts, obviously. We're not working for ESPN, but we try to do our picks based on common sense or even common logic or football logic. And football logic has been thrown out of the window every week. It really is hard because, again, and I've said this, Breeze at times didn't look like Drew Brees. The Chiefs' defense sometimes looks amazing and then other times gives up 33 points.
You know, I want to say one thing, though. I mean, and I know you hate the kid. I know.
Who do I hate?
Hill.
Oh, Taysom Hill?
Taysom Hill?
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't hate him.
I don't know why you hate him.
I don't hate him.
You dislike him, but I watched him last night. He did not look bad.
No. He never looks bad. He had that one fumble.
That kid is everywhere, though. I mean, he even said it. I think him and Collinsworth asked him. I think something about him going to meetings. He goes, well, the first thing I do is I go to the special team meeting.
Yeah.
Because he's a quarterback. He plays wide receiver. He plays on special teams.
I have respect for him. I have respect for him, but he's one of those players that are so frustrating because look, I'm not a Saints fan. I'm not. And very little have I ever gone for the Saints in any of the matchups that have happened since week 1. And it felt like every game where I thought not the Chiefs, but I thought the Saints.
I was loving the Saints last night, though.
I know.
But we all have Brady.
I wasn't expecting that. I was not, and that's the other thing too. He said Chiefs will not stop Kamara. I don't know, because Kamara is one of those players that even if they did stop him on the run, he'll still hurt you with his receptions and his yardage gain by.
And that's what happened last night, because they were stopping him on the run, but when he got loose for the pass, he catches the ball.
So that's the other thing you got to worry about. Calvin Kamara is his ability. He's one of the best guys in the back that can catch the ball and run and give you that much needed yardage. That quick check down play. Maybe a play, and that is one of the advantages that Breeze has as a quarterback is to have a guy like Kamara in the backfield, because like we said, he can either do it running, as he's shown plenty of times week after week, or there could be a play pre-snap where Breeze wanted to go to Thomas, or Breeze wanted to go to whoever else he wanted to throw to, doesn't have the play. Oh, Kamara's right there. Boom, quick screen, or quick dink and dunk, and Kamara just runs with it and turns what could be a 2-3 yard gain into like 11 or 12 yard gain. So even if they did stop the run, that's something that, as a Chiefs fan, I would be worried about Calvin Kamara. I would. And you're right. Look what injured Christian McCaffrey did to us on Sunday. It's right. McCaffrey's first game back after an injury. We were just talking about that before you came on. And he was one of the main reasons why the Panthers were even as close as they were. But here's what I don't understand. I guess I just answered my question before saying it. I was about to say, why didn't they utilize McCaffrey in that final drive? But that's right. They didn't have any timeouts, so you really don't run the ball. But screen left, screen right, and that's exactly what happens with these halfbacks that can give you and produce yardage via the pass and not just the run. So it's something to think about, and it should be a good game. I'm really glad you brought that up, because that should be a really good matchup, especially late in the season, because you might be, especially if you're the Saints in that division, you're trying to secure a bye at that point, and or just trying to remain on top or in the hunt for a playoff berth at all, because that's a tough division.
Yeah, because right now, you're looking at both Seattle and them as 6-2.
Yeah.
So right there's the toss-up. So yeah. What did you think of the Arizona Miami game yesterday?
Well, let's get to that in a minute, because I do want to, because that's in 2 games down below. So I really do want to quickly, Raiders and Chargers. Yeah, the Raiders pulled up another win. I should say the Chargers another loss, which is mind-blowing, especially the way Herbert plays. But they had a last-second touchdown overturned.
The ball jumped.
Yeah, no, it sucks. It was the right call. It was the right call. It was the right call, but that's a heartbreaker. That is a heartbreaker, because it was ruled a touchdown at first. It looked like a catch, and then you can tell when he hit the ground, he did not maintain possession. And it sucks.
He didn't have possession of the
Again,
ball
the right call, but they came that close to winning. A Carr, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, nothing to brag about. Herbert, 326.
A typical David, right? No.
Yeah. Derek. No, we went through this before.
I keep getting this guy confused. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, David Carr used to be backup to the Giants, and also with the Texans.
Because every time I think, because when I hear Carr, then I'm going like...
Yeah, no, I get it.
And then I say Dennis, but Dennis Carr was a former jockey. So now I'm like, oh, wait a second. I'm like, wait, no, it's not horse racing. It's football. And I'm like...
But Justin Herbert, just a really quick go over, 326, 2 touchdowns, so he did his part. He didn't look too bad.
Gave a scare a little bit when he had a little knee thing going. Tyrod Taylor got to take a snap, and he fucked up the 2-point conversion. So, yeah, good thing you did collapse your lungs.
Now, let's go over to the other game. And this was last night's was it last night's game? No, not last night's game.
No, well,
it was a late game. Steelers-Cowboys. It was a 4:00 game for me.
Yep.
Steelers-Cowboys, and then look, Steelers quietly. And I mean quietly, because they're not really talked about as much. And you've been saying this week after week, and Sippy, I would like your take on this too.
And you're going to hear the question again as soon as you're done talking, so go.
So Sippy, here's the question. Here's what he's been saying week after week.
Here's my question. Should Ben Roethlisberger be considered in the MVP?
A consideration. A consideration. Yeah.
Am I right or wrong? I've been saying this now for the last 2 weeks. Joey's telling me I'm out of my mind.
Well, because look, first of all, this was a damn good performance by Big Ben, especially after the fact that I thought he was going to be out. He looked like he hurt his knee bad. He sat, Mason Rudolph came in for a few snaps, and then it was also at the end of the half too. But
Ben is a fucking warrior.
Yeah, That's
why he came back in.
What was the line? 306 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, that's not something he was doing week after week. The Steelers were winning, but it wasn't... He wasn't really putting up these big, Mahomes-like numbers. That was my argument. Look, I'm still going to say, if the season ended now, if I had to vote either Mahomes or Ben, and I'm not just saying this for Sippy's, for his vote on it, but I got to go Mahomes. I have to. I just think he's the better pick. As far now, I know Ben is on an undefeated team, and nobody predicted the Steelers to go 8-0. I mean, they're the only unbeaten team in the NFL. So I have no hate against Big Ben. I told you numerous times growing up, the Steelers were always my second favorite team for some reason. I don't know why, behind the Giants. But I just got to say, I just feel like there were at least 2 quarterbacks I would put ahead of Big Ben right now.
Because the Steelers is actually America's team. Nobody listens to me when I say that.
So I think he's almost in agreement with you. He said, yes, as a most valuable player, yes. But the term MVP in the NFL doesn't mean that anymore, and he's very right about that. It is
and that's the truth. But that's my argument.
And he is right. I'm in 100% in agreement with both of you on this. Without Big Ben, they've shown it. Mason Rudolph couldn't do anything. Again, he had limited snaps, but Mason Rudolph is no Big Ben. And he said Big Ben is the most valuable player on that team, which is 100% correct. And probably in the he said and probably in the NFL.
I mean, I'm looking at the schedule right now. What's left?
Right.
What's left? There's a possibility they could do it. They could. There's one obstacle in their way. Thanksgiving night.
Who do they play?
Baltimore.
All right.
Again.
Yeah.
Which they beat them pretty handily the last time.
They did.
But this is who they got left to see if they can go do the next date. Jacksonville.
Okay.
Baltimore on Thanksgiving Day, so they'll be on short rest.
Okay.
Then it looks like the next week they're going to have a bye. No, they already got their bye week, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No.
Yeah. Wasn't the bye was part of the COVID thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're actually playing back-to-back Thursday games. They're playing Thursday the 26th, Thanksgiving night, up against Baltimore. And then Thursday on the... Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong. They're playing... No, it's a Sunday game. So they're playing Thursday, Thanksgiving night, Baltimore. Then they got Washington. Then you got Buffalo. That's going to be a tough game. That's looks like it could be a...
So Sippy said what I said last week. And I've been saying...
The Colts and Cleveland. They can go 15-1 with this run. Or
right. But the other thing is, though, it's not even needed for them to go that 14-2 or 15-1. It really isn't needed for the Steelers to do that. But he said exactly what I've been saying. And I know he's being biased with Mahomes, but with the Russell Wilson as the runner-up, I agree with that. And I understand I know, and I accidentally clicked that by accident.
See, this is my argument. This is where I've been arguing the last couple of weeks.
But he's right. He's right in what he's saying right here.
I don't understand how a 6-2 quarterback could be the runner-up in an MVP. But plus, he has 7 interceptions this year.
Yeah, Wilson has thrown 7 picks now. Yes, you're right.
Okay, he has 7 picks. He shouldn't be a runner-up. Mahomes is an 8-1 team. Ben, like I said, if he does pull it off, I think he deserves it. But, I mean, like, if they go 15-1 each, then, all right, then I'll look at the stats of Mahomes right now is 25-1, 25 TDs to 1 interception.
But like he says, and if you're going off the definition of most valuable player, especially for the team, he is right. Big Ben would be first, then Mahomes would be second, because he is your MVP of the team. Because without Big Ben, they're not nearly as good. They're not going to be 8-0. However, let me ask you, and I'm just saying, and I know it shouldn't be based on this argument, but do you really think in in football talk in general, in the conversation of quarterbacks alone, do you really put Ben Roethlisberger ahead of an Aaron Rodgers? Or a Russell Wilson or a Mahomes?
This season? Or in general?
Just in general, this stage of his career. I mean, I get it. I understand. If you're just going by season.
Ben is. I'm looking at it as Ben's near the end of his career.
I think it's win or bust. I think for Big Ben and the Steelers, it's win this year or bust. I really do. I believe that as well.
I mean, I think it's near the end of going into the sunset or whatever, and this is appropriate if he gets into, if he can pull it off. But
riding off to the sunset with a Super Bowl win would be, and he, it's not like he doesn't have any.
I mean, he already had one.
Yeah, he has one. But he's right. And
how many years has he been in the league, though? That's the question.
Yeah, and he's right. Mahomes does have a lot of weapons, and that's another thing. And don't get me wrong. Steelers have Connor running the ball. They have the rookie Claypool, who has been looking very well, especially in that one game. But as he's saying too, I'm going to highlight in a second, he's not the same athlete as the others are, and that's the only thing that's been hindering me from putting Roethlisberger. And I'm wrong. I'm honestly, and I'm going to admit it, I am wrong in doing it in that way, because the most valuable player as an award should go for the player that is the most valuable player for his team. But in going by skill, athleticism, the stages in their career, what they show, what they do, like I said, Ben had a really good game yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
And it showed. But he didn't really show that every week, even though his team continued to win. So,
well, Sippy, that I fully agree with that. I mean, Ben is he's like Eli was. Eli was one dimensional. So is Ben. He doesn't run. He doesn't. He doesn't.
I'll tell you though, if Big Ben. But I'll tell you one thing though. A, it's hard to take that motherfucker down.
It is.
B, if he is running, he's gonna hurt you. He's a big dude.
And this is Ben's 17th season in the season in his career. So he is 38 years old.
And he's hurt. You can tell, like, he's not as mobile anymore because of his legs. He's battered.
Right.
I'm not saying anything bad about Ben. No, I'm not saying what I don't get is that how you can look at a quarterback at 8-0 or when I started this argument at 6-0 because
and just be disrespectful to the fact
I'm not that
a 38-year-old quarterback is leading. This isn't like the Tom.
I'll give you an example.
Tom Brady.
I'll give you an example.
Brady was in his late 30s when he had that 16-0 season.
Because I don't think. I mean, I know it does affect the decision, but the 8-0 record to me is a team thing over his performances. If that makes any sense, you know what I mean. So when a team goes 8-0, the team is 8-0, and I'm in agreement. But look, it's kind of like when their defense. Let's be honest, their defense is one of the main reasons why. In some cases they gave up a lot of points, but in most cases their defense are the reasons why they are 8-0.
Look, here's how I put it, and you're going to laugh at my analogy on this.
Hold on, really quick, before you get into that, Sippy wanted to know where we're based out of. I actually deactivated my Twitter, so I no longer have Twitter. It was just way too whatever. But I'm actually from and born and raised and still here in Brooklyn, New York. And Mike, a former Brooklyn dude.
And I was born and raised in Brooklyn as well. Me and Joey actually lived around the corner from each other growing up.
Yeah.
And I moved out to Chandler, Arizona back in 2005. I don't have a Twitter, Sippy. I actually just started using Parler, which is the alternative to Twitter on there. If you open up one of those, then I have a Parler one called AZBKLYN Boy. If you sign up the Parler, then you can follow me on there. And
I agree with him. MVP now means who's the flashiest, most fun winner, and I get it. That's wrong. No, that is wrong.
And that's my argument the whole time. It shouldn't be the flashiest and who could throw the most touchdowns.
Well, let me ask you this. Hold on a second. If the Steelers were to go 14-2, 15-1, or even the impossible 16-0, and they end up going to the Super Bowl and winning, you don't think Ben Roethlisberger is going to win the MVP?
You're saying he's not. I'm saying
at that stage, at that fucking point, of course he. Why wouldn't he be the MVP? He not only took his team to the playoffs and the Super Bowl and won, but he did it. He did it with possibly the best record in football.
You know, here's the analogy I wanted.
I would never call a Steelers game. Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know how people would watch a game and say it was. But even against the lowly Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys made it a game, made it a lot more a closer game than I thought it was going to be. But that was an interesting game. That was a really good game to watch yesterday.
I'll tell you what, though. I'll give credit. That Garrett Gilbert kid did actually play pretty.
I never even heard of the fucking kid. Who is he?
He's a third stringer. He just.
Well, I mean, definitely did better than Danucci.
He's like a Brady. He was a 7th round pick.
Yeah.
But look, here's the analogy I want to use when it comes to Ben and quarterback and all together.
Yeah.
And like you said, it is a team game.
Yeah.
You're right. But when you get a symphony, right, on a stage, you have a conductor.
Yeah.
The conductor is Ben. He leads that team.
100%.
And whatever Ben does, whether good or bad, the team follows. So if Ben is off a little bit, the team falters a little bit. And that's everything in football.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. So you just answered. So, and again, you're right. I mean, the short.
If you're gonna have a really good conductor that leads a good symphony,
yeah,
they're gonna get standing ovations every time.
Right.
And Ben is leading this team like he conducted this year perfectly right now. Now, can he do the 8 more games? If he gets past Baltimore and Buffalo, yes, I think they can.
But you just answered the question a little bit within your statement just now. Because, as I had said, there have been games, excluding yesterday, obviously. I mean, again, 3 touchdowns, nearly 400 yards passing. He showed, he actually stepped up. He was the reason they won. Because their defense didn't. The defense almost gave up the game. However,
I mean, look, I understand he has 18 touchdowns.
They're still undefeated.
He has a little over 1,900 yards this year.
They're still undefeated, and there were still games where he did not look. He looked off. So, by your definition,
he still carried them.
But by your analogy, by your definition, if the conductor had an off game, and their symphony still played well. It's a team thing. But again, I don't want to get into it too much because I think you're right. After yesterday's game, even though it was against the Cowboys and everybody scores on the fucking Cowboys, let's be honest. Except the Giants. He looked good. He looked good. Even with the bum knee, he looked good. So I'm not gonna whatever. But let's get to the game that you wanted to bring up. Let's get to, because we only have a couple of games to go now, including this one. Miami at Arizona. Now, we talked about it last week with Fitzpatrick getting benched, bringing in Tua. Tua did not look good in his debut. In fact, he fumbled on the very first play of his of the drive. What did you think of his performance?
You know what? When I first saw, and I actually watched part of the game live, I was doing some other stuff earlier, so I kind of missed the first half. So I watched some of the highlights. But when I first saw the fumble touchdown,
yeah,
I said that the defense is going to win again for them because I said to it, and then all of a sudden this kid just came to life, and I will humbly eat my crow after what I said last week about him. He did not look bad. He went 20 for 28. He threw for 248 yards. He threw 2 TD passes.
I wouldn't mind it.
And he had a 122 rating.
I'm all right. I wouldn't mind it, and that's the thing. I know I've said what I said after Mike has brought up the question the last few weeks, and I said I just didn't see him as it. But if Ben was to win the MVP, there'd be no complaints from me. There wouldn't be. I mean, you can't give him the MVP now, halfway in the season. It's literally the halfway mark. So you don't know what's going to happen in the next 8 weeks. However,
Joey, last week though, you didn't even have him in your top 5 last week.
I didn't, and I was doing it based on like we were talking about it, and Sippy was kind of agreeing with me with a little bit because you really can't in the same discussion when you're thinking about, and look, take away the Steelers, and I hate to go back to this, but really quick, you take the Steelers record and let's just isolate that for a minute, right? And just a regular quarterback discussion, and you're going by the top 5 quarterbacks. I just didn't have him there, and it was only because of his stage in his career. Nothing against Big Ben, nothing against his legacy or his stats or his career. But at this stage of the game, I just feel like you have your Mahomes, you have your Russell Wilson at 1 and 2, you have your Aaron Rodgers, your Lamar Jackson, which I don't really like. But you had to put him up there. I don't put him up there anymore. I put Big Ben way ahead of Lamar Jackson now. But you still do have these younger quarterbacks that are showing promise, showing a lot, and your veterans too. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are up there too. But that was the conversation I was having. But now moving forward, after what the Steelers and Big Ben have showing, I'm starting to come around. I get it. I get the talk and what the MVP actually means. And going by MVP and what that means, yes, he is the MVP of the Steelers. And if they go further and possibly even win it all, he's 100% the MVP of the league. So, but he said, I've never been excited for a Miami-Arizona matchup my whole life. This will be the first and probably be the last. It will be. I mean, not if these young quarterbacks. I mean, they don't play as much. They're not in the same division, but these young quarterbacks, if they continue to show promise and show what they're doing, because it was a shootout basically between Tua and.
No, it was. I mean, like I said, and then Tua had a 122.
And they're both sophomores, right? They're both lefties.
Yeah, and then look at Murray. He went 21 for 26 for 283.
Yeah,
3 touchdowns. But not only that, he rushed. Let me see. Where's the rushing?
Now, does Tua, because I really haven't been able to watch, is Tua mobile? Is Tua a scrambling quarterback as well, or is he more pocket?
Hold on. I'm trying to find the rushing stuff. Tua ran for 35 yards. So, yes, he is mobile.
Oh, Sippy, I hate Lamar Jackson with a passion. I don't like the Ravens at all. I've never liked the Ravens, especially since my Giants lost to them in the Super Bowl almost 20 years ago. I've never been a Ravens fan. Anytime I've ever picked them.
I think Lamar Jackson is overrated. I don't think he should have never won the MVP last year.
Yeah, I agree.
At all. Yeah. At all. He should. Pat Mahomes deserved it more than he did.
Yeah.
He thinks who the fuck he is. He thinks his shit doesn't stink.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about him. I personally don't like him.
That's another scenario where their defense.
And I think he's a cocky son of a bitch. I don't like that.
I don't like that either. And I think that's another scenario where your defense is doing a lot better than you are. So, but
getting back to this with the rushing.
Yeah.
Tua had 7 attempts for 35 yards. But Kyler, forget it. 11 rushes, 106 yards. And a TD, he actually ran more. He actually had more. He was the top rusher in the game.
Okay.
And actually, this is what I was pointing out when they were playing Dallas, where he can run 100 yards.
Well, I knew that. No, I know.
But the problem was in the first quarter of that game where they played Dallas, that was his homecoming, and he had butterflies galore in that first quarter because he played in that stadium for 3 high school championship games and a Big Ten championship game he played in over there. He was nervous that game. Yeah. Where I said that he was going to rush all those yards. But, I mean, my God, what a freaking game, though. I mean, back and forth. I think they tied up the game 4 or 5 times and only 2 lead changes. Well, and then the missed field goal. But what sucked the worst is Gonzalez comes out to try to tie it up again. And it's 9 yards closer than the one he kicked last up against Seattle to win it. He hit a 58-yard field goal last week, and he misses a 49.
A missed field goal with just under 2 minutes to go, and that's it. That sealed the deal. Miami got the ball back and killed the clock and won the game. So Miami does come up with a 34-31 victory, and and Tua does a lot better in his second game than he did in his first. But Miami wins again. They win again without Fitzpatrick. Their defense helped out a lot more. Not a lot more, but another week the defense comes through as well. But Arizona was a missed field goal away from tying this game. So,
and he just missed it by. Oh my! It was so. It had the distance. From the looks of things, I thought he made it at first, but it just missed the crossbar.
So now you got Miami at 5-3, and the Cardinals at 5-3. And Miami's in a tough division right now because the Bills keep on winning.
And Arizona had a chance to tie up with Seattle if they didn't miss that field goal and get in overtime.
But
they had a chance to tie. They had a chance for being tied for the lead in the West.
And then of course you have the Saints and Bucks game. I mean, let's be honest. We already talked about it. I mean, there's really not much to say because it was a lopsided victory. Thank you
very much, Mr. Breeze.
Yeah. My show spotlights Southern Miss football. I get drunk and record my rants, raves about the program. So that getting to what you were saying, without the drunkenness, that was my goal, sort of, with this channel at one point. It was gonna just be based on the Giants and based on our rants and reviews. I mean, let's be honest. We expected them to lose a lot of games, so we were probably going to be ranting and be pissed off a lot more than anything. But that's what we were going to try to do. But then I said, you know what? Let me take that and let's take it a step further and talk about generalized football as well. Because if we just talk about just the Giants, we might not spark the interest in other people to watch and share our passion. Just I want to do football. But who is Mike? Do you remember Michael Boley? I don't know if and I probably do know. I just, for some reason, the name doesn't sound familiar. No, who is Michael Boley? I don't know that. But so dude, I mean, fucking Tom Brady, 3 interceptions. Looked hard, and that Saints defense, and again, and we're going back to what we were saying before with what Sippy had said about the matchup in December. I mean, look, if the Saints can play like that against the Chiefs, Chiefs got to be careful. I mean, again, I'm not saying Brady and Mahomes, Giants. Oh no, see that I knew that sounded familiar, but he was an old linebacker for the Giants. What year was he on the Giants?
Oh wait, was he part of the first Eli Super Bowl? Or was it the second?
I don't know.
I think he's right, but I don't know if it was Eli's first Super Bowl or second.
I don't know. Look that up. You're usually good with stats and looking that up.
I'm good.
You know what? I think you're right, Mike. I think Michael Boley was in I honestly, I thought you were going to say like the 86 win or the 1990 win, but I think you're right. I think it was more recent than that. I think it was with the Eli Manning years. Because now that I keep saying that name, Michael Boley, I think you're right.
Yeah, he's a linebacker. 6'3", 230 out of Southern Miss.
Oh, that's why. So you see the connection? You see the Southern Miss connection? Because that's what Sippy spotlights Southern Miss on his show. So that makes sense.
2000. All right, he was with the Giants in. Oh, you know what? It was. When was the first one, Joe? 2008. We won the first Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, 2007 season, 2008 Super Bowl.
He was with us for the second one.
Okay, second one. Okay.
2009 to 2012-13 season.
Okay, yeah, he won the Super Bowl with the Giants in 2012 for the 2011 season.
And then prior, he was with the Falcons.
Okay. All right. Yeah. When he first said Michael Boley, I don't know why that sounded familiar, and I was like, okay, I feel like I should know that name, and then now I remember it.
How many times did Brady get sacked yesterday? He got.
I think I wrote that down.
I remember at the end it was like 4th and 24.
I don't know. I know he threw 3 interceptions, and I know Breeze threw 4 touchdowns. Drew Brees threw 4 touchdowns, but no, I don't have it. I don't have it listed.
What times he got sacked?
I don't have it listed, but they got to him a lot.
Oh yeah.
And if he wasn't sacked, he was pressured a lot.
He did not look good yesterday.
No, but his passes were off. Like he wasn't throwing accurate passes at all. A lot of them were off to the sideline. A lot of passes were like that where he was throwing and leading the receiver and he was leading them too far.
I'll tell you how interesting the game was.
Giselle, yeah, but now, Sippy, now that you mentioned it and reminded me, yeah, I actually do remember Michael Boley.
Giselle was actually up in the press box and she was holding his daughter, and his daughter fell asleep, sucking her thumb, watching. It was like, Daddy's playing like shit. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I'm going to bed. I think a lot of fans went to bed last night. I mean, that was just a horrible win. That was, a horrible loss.
You know what? Honestly, I sat there and watched it because I thought Brady would have came back in the second half and done something.
So this is a good question that Sippy poses. Who do you want, not need, but want, this upcoming draft for the Giants? I mean, obviously, if we were going to go based on needs, first thing I could think of is an offensive line. I know, Mike, I know you're going to say Trevor Lawrence. I already know you're going to say that.
I'm not going to, you know what? I'm over the Trevor Lawrence thing.
I don't...
Let the Jets draft him and see what the fuck. I want to see this drama unfold.
I don't think.
I want the Jets to go 0-16 and draft this son of a bitch and drive everybody crazy.
Look, what's his face? Terry Bradshaw said it was the same conversation I was telling you about with Strahan in the pregame. Daniel Jones does have flashes of brilliance. Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. He's not the best by any means. He's still a young quarterback. This is like his 3rd year. I think you got to give him time to develop, but I think the key thing, and I've been saying this, and it's been something that's been a common denominator in most of the Giants' losses, is they don't really have a healthy line. So, like I said, based on need, I would say offensive line. What I would want, I would love a Plaxico Burress type receiver, somebody of that nature, a playmaker. I want a playmaker. I'm not. No offense to Slayton, no offense to Ingram, no offense to fucking Golden Tate, who had a bitch fit about his not getting the ball. I want a playmaker. I think Daniel Jones and Eli suffered that as well. He had Plaxico, and it shows because they were the best team in the NFL at that until he shot himself in the leg. The Giants need a playmaker. They do. Not an Odell Beckham where he's fucked up in the head and he lets his emotions get the best of him. I'm talking about an actual number one receiver.
I want a number one receiver that doesn't act like a fucking 5-year-old if he doesn't get the pass.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't want T.O. I don't want Odell. I don't want Golden Tate. I don't want fucking who else was a crybaby?
We had said it before.
Randy Moss.
No, Randy Moss wasn't a crybaby. You can't say that about Randy. I love Randy Moss. One of my favorite all-time receivers. Obviously, not excluding Jerry Rice, but I loved Randy Moss. I loved him on the Vikings. I thought Randy Moss was really good. So I don't know much about Judy on the Broncos.
Judy on the Broncos. He scored a touchdown yesterday. He actually,
and he's from.
He ain't that bad.
No, I know he's good. I've watched him. I watched him the one game. Who did they play? Was the Jet? No, what game was televised with the Broncos that I watched? I can't really remember. I know Judy's good. Trust me, I know he's good. But yes, to answer your question really quick, definitely.
Brady was sacked 3 times.
Okay, but they were all in the I think towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, I would love a playmaker. I've always wanted that, especially for Eli. I wanted him to have an actual number one receiver. That's reliable. And really quick before we end the show, because we're almost at 2 hours, we're just over an hour and a half. What's your predictions for tonight's Monday night game? I'm sorry. Tonight's Monday night game, Patriots and Jets. I don't honestly. Yeah, I know that's the first instinct to say Jets are going to go 0-9.
I know, right? But you know what though? as bad as Cam is playing, could the Jets pull off a one?
I think so. I honestly think, and we went over the schedule before, and I don't want to go over it again, but we did go over the schedule. I really think, especially with the struggles that the Patriots are doing, are going through, I think this might be a win for the Jets. I don't want it to be, but I think the Jets actually might come away with the W tonight. I don't know, but he's saying. So with Sippy saying that he thinks it's a possible trade for the Giants at low cost for Judy.
Could be. I mean, he's not that bad of a receiver. I mean, he like I said, he did catch a pass.
Who would the Broncos want? Like, and who would we have? You know, we would have to give something that we probably wouldn't want to give.
Give him Daniel Jones so we could take Trevor Lawrence.
So, but he says he thinks the Jets.
It can't be worse than Locke.
He thinks the Jets win. Jets 21-20. Yeah, but hold on. But now you're.
I'm torn because I don't know what to do here. I don't know because I want to see them go 0-9 and continue to skid to get Trevor. But I wouldn't mind if they win either, just to say, okay, they finally fucking won a game.
Yeah, but at the same time, do you see the Jets? I don't think the offense is putting up 3 touchdowns. Unless the defense is scoring 2 of those touchdowns, I don't see the Jets putting up 3. But here's the thing. This is probably the game they do.
I mean, this could be the wake-up game. I mean, this could be it.
I think the Jets are putting it, what's the word? I think the Jets are literally just giving up. I think at this point, winning a game wouldn't even help them. They're not. What are you going to do?
7 for Trevor.
So
I'm telling you, 7 for Trevor.
I don't know. You know, and this isn't. Look, this isn't my distaste. This isn't my hatred towards the Jets talking.
God, I'm cracking.
It's not. I mean, it's almost comical. It's not even hate now. It's comical. And I know. And what are Jets fans going to say? What are Jets fans going to say at this moment? Well, your team's 2-7. Well, you have no room to talk. You're right. We don't. But
we don't look like shit.
But you guys, look,
we fight. At
horrible.
least we fucking fight. We fucking try at least. Our fucking defense falls asleep with 5 minutes left in every fucking game. Yeah. But your team just doesn't fucking. Your team gave up on Adam Gase fucking week 16 last year.
I agree.
You think they're going to play fucking good this year?
I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think the Jets are going to get outcoached, and there's no comparison between Belichick and Gase. I mean, if you were comparing a garbage can on the sideline to Gase, there'd be no comparison. He gets outcoached by anybody.
I got to stop laughing. I'm going to piss myself in about 2 more minutes if we keep talking about this.
But again, and I think we talked about this briefly last Monday when we were talking about upcoming games for this week. What did I say? I think the Jets lose, but I wouldn't be surprised if they win. I wouldn't be. Because of how bad Cam Newton's been looking and how bad the Patriots have been looking.
Okay. So, you know what? Let's stop talking about fucking 0-9 and 1-8 and all.
Yeah.
Can we just go over next week's fucking schedule, please?
Do we have time? I think. All right, let's do it really quick. Colts at Titans. Thursday night game, Colts at Titans. Who do you have? Titans. And Sippy, you're included in this if you can answer it. Giants are not trash. Giants are a bad bitch that's putting her makeup on for the next season, which I think you're right. I think, honestly, if they can pull out a few wins, and again, this is a very easy division to win right now because the leader of the division has 3 wins. Granted, they have a tie as well, but they have 3 wins. So the Giants are technically only a game and a half, 2 games behind. However, I agree with you in that where, although the division isn't far away from them, I think they need to win and put on a winning streak, or at least show what they can possibly do for future seasons like next season or whatever, and just go after somebody that you need in the draft or even via trade, like you said. So I agree with you on that. But all right, so
are you going by ESPN or NFL's website with these games? Because you're going to throw me off again.
ESPN.
Okay, I'm on ESPN's website now too.
So we got the Colts at Titans for Thursday night game.
Tennessee.
All right, he's got Colts, right? I believe Colts beat Titans. I if I had to pick top of my head, I would go with Colts and their defense. But then again, I've been wrong. And, they got the Colts are 5-3, Titans are 6-2. I think the Titans are a very good team, especially with Derrick Henry. But and the Colts surprised me. The Colts surprised me in yesterday's game. They did.
All late games next week.
So.
Oh, excuse me.
But I agree. I think the Colts defense holds Henry, and I think they pull out a win. Texans at Broncos. No, I'm sorry. Texans at Browns. I thought it was a bad penmanship, but the Broncos are playing the Raiders. I'm sorry. Texans at Browns.
Cleveland.
I'm gonna go Texans. I think the Texans are gonna. I know the Texans are 2-6. I think the Texans are actually gonna surprise and beat Cleveland. Because I've picked Cleveland before and I've been burned by them. So that's that. Do we even really want to go over Washington and Detroit? Fuck them.
Detroit.
I'll go with Detroit as well. Jaguars at Packers. Come on, you got to go Packers.
Watch freaking Luton's gonna go batshit crazy for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Sippy's taking the Brownies. So you and Sippy got the Brownies. I'm just gonna go with the Texans just to go because I think the Browns are probably favored in this game. So I'm just gonna go with the underdog. I do like the Texans. I've always liked the Texans defense, even though really haven't shown much. I agree. Sippy also takes the Lions, and so do me and Mike. I think the Lions. Washington's just playing really horrible, even though they almost beat the Giants.
And Alex Smith, Allen has a dislocated ankle, so
okay,
he probably won't be starting. So
he went with the Pack as well, which I think is a no-brainer. But again, this is probably it's probably one of those weeks where everybody picks the Packers and the fucking Jaguars upset them. Giants at Eagles. Look, I think the Eagles win, but I think the Giants have a fighting chance. They play them very well.
Poke yourself out of it.
I want to go against the Giants. I want to go for the Giants. Fuck it. I'm going with my team. I'm going with the Giants. I want the Giants to win. Carson Wentz, he's just a weird guy to pick. He's a weird guy to get into his brain. Like
it's like watching Daniel Jones. You don't know who you're gonna get.
You don't. And it's just whatever. I'm gonna go with the Giants on that. Panthers and Bucks. I after yesterday's performance, I don't know if you could. I don't know if it's as clear cut. I would normally have went for the Buccaneers because of their defense, because of their offense. But is Antonio Brown hurting this team already?
I don't know, but I'm gonna go Carolina for the upset.
I'm gonna go with you on that as well. I think the Buccaneers are going to win. I think they're going to bounce back. I think
with McCaffrey back, they look damn good up against Kansas City with, the hell with it. Go with it.
Yeah, see, he's also going with the Giants and Daniel Jones. He thinks he's going to have a big game. I hope so. And he thinks exactly how I think. I don't think the Bucs are going to – I don't think there's no way Brady's going to have 2 bad performances in a row. And I don't think the Buccaneers are going to – I think the Buccaneers are going to bounce back. But if the Panthers were to upset them, would it really be...
Is Carolina's defense better than New Orleans, you think?
I don't know. A week or two ago, I would have said no. I would have said yes, because the New Orleans defense really wasn't showing much. They just seem to wake up when they play the Bucs.
So Carolina defense played Mahomes. How are they going to play Brady?
Yeah. I'm going to go, I'll go Bucs, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina wins. Broncos at Raiders. They got 3-5 at 5-3. The Broncos are playing a little bit better than their 3-5 record, but I gotta go Raiders as well. They did just beat the Chargers, who have a really good offense. Yeah, so which is weird because they just picked up Le'Veon Bell. Oh, the run defense. I'm sorry. I literally left out a key word in that phrase. You said defense. The Chiefs' run defense isn't good though, which is I know. Yeah. So he was talking about So you're right. Saints secondary is trash. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who has the better defense, Carolina or New Orleans, but he's also going to go with the Raiders, so we'll be beyond that. Dolphins at Chargers. Now, are the Chargers actually going to win a fucking game? I know that they're 2-6. How many close calls, how many close games does Justin Herbert have to have? Hopefully they win, only because I don't want to see him getting his job taken away from him. It would suck, because at one point do you have to say, should we go back with Tyrod Taylor? I mean, do you even have a better? I don't think you have a better option with Tyrod Taylor, to be honest with you. But Sippy says he wants both of them to lose because he hates the Raiders and Broncos. But that's the only way that'll happen is if there's a tie. So it's not a loss. But I still think if you're gonna have to pick one, you got to go with the Raiders, which he did. I'm gonna go
Miami. I mean now now with two wins in a row. I mean, it's like you said. It's like the Chargers, like the Giants. They think of ways to lose. I mean,
I know it's so hard to pick against Justin Herbert, though. It really is. I'm gonna go.
Miami's defense is
Look,
is really good. I mean,
not even.
It's gonna be a test for this kid.
Look, they have a young quarterback that still showed one week wasn't so good. Second week was definitely better. I don't know what to expect. It wasn't great, but it was definitely better. I don't know what to expect with his third game, especially against a high-powered offense like this.
Here, I'll give you a horse racing analogy real quick.
Okay.
All right, so when I look at a horse that first time start, I watch him. Second time, I'll watch him again.
Okay.
It's the third start. You got to see what he's going to do, if he's going to be good or not.
Right, and I think this is a pivotal, and I'm agreeing with you.
Same thing. It's the same thing.
Okay.
This is the third start. He has to look sharp. He has to be good. And I think up against the Chargers, he might be able to pull it off.
Well, and like you said, though, too, I think the key for this game is the Dolphins' defense. Mm-hmm. I think the Dolphins' defense. I think if the Dolphins get to an early lead and their defense can even turn over the ball, and get a couple of turnovers and even score, which they've been doing, I think that's a key in the game.
Yep.
But it should be a decent matchup. And again, I know it's a 2-6 team against a 5-3 team. The Dolphins have a better shot of doing anything this season than the Chargers are. But it's you're right. Let's just see what Tua can do in his third week. So
simply says Chargers.
Yes. Bills at Cardinals. I'm inclined to go with the Bills 100%, especially after what they did.
I'm going with the Bills.
Yes, especially what they did against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. But again, as I said, a lot of teams score on the Seahawks. Their defense is horrible. But Cardinals, like you said, their defense is definitely better than the Seahawks. So that's something that you got to consider as well. Picking for this week.
Now look how good the defense was this week.
Right. You're right.
I mean, they gave up 27 points. I mean, if you put that in there.
Oh, let me tell you something. I am going to be always 100%. I know Mike will. We're not going to sugarcoat anything. And that's the other thing too. I am a Giants fan first and foremost. Always will be. Always have been. But I can talk bad about my team and I can give it like it is.
So can I.
And if it's a team I hate, so here's where me and Mike differ a little bit. He hates the Cowboys, and I get it, and I don't like the Eagles as well, and I don't like the Cowboys. But
Snippy, if you watch our past two episodes, just watch the beginning and watch what I put on there before we started the show.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, that's the other thing too, and that's what I don't want to do. I want to talk about the Giants. Don't get me wrong, and that's how we're going to start off every show.
And that's how we do it.
Unless the Giants have a bye week or whatever, but last Monday we weren't really able to talk about them because they had the Monday night game, so that's why we carried that over.
So basically, how it works is we talk about the Giants, we talk about the Jets because our friend James, who's never really on here anymore, but he's a Jet fan, so we throw the Jets in there to be nice. We throw a bone, and then we get into all the rest of the games, and then rant and rave about it. Like, what do we like? What we didn't like?
Yeah. All right, so I'm going Bills. You're going to take the Bills, right?
Bills, yeah.
All right, Sippy, let us know what you're going to do with Bills and Cards. He did say Seattle, but we didn't go into that, but we are about to actually say that right now. Seattle at Rams. I'm going Seattle. I think they have a bounce back game.
Me too.
The Rams, I know, are 5-3, but the Rams are on one of those teams. Look, they almost lost to the Giants as well. So they're one of those.
On a bye week, so they might be a little freshened up, but still.
Yeah, but they're another team where you don't know what you're going to get.
You don't know who Jared Goff. If Jared Goff's going to be good or bad. So
right. Sippy's going Bills. And then let's see, 49ers at Saints. I think there's a no-brainer. I'm going Saints.
Who dat?
Yeah, you got to go Saints. Look, I personally would like the 49ers to win, but look, without Garoppolo, you don't know what you're going to get with Mullins. You said that they just signed Josh Johnson?
Yeah.
Is that 100%? Are you 100% sure they signed Josh Johnson?
Yeah, actually.
So let's see. Let's see if he can work his magic or whatever. It's a shame because the 49ers are a lot better than that record shows. They've been plagued with defensive injuries since the very beginning of the season.
This is Josh Johnson. This is not his first cup of coffee with the 49ers. I think this is actually his third time with them.
Well, let's see if third time.
I mean, this guy's been bounced around more than a Super Bowl. I'm
gonna go Saints only just because of what they did, against the Buccaneers, and if you're gonna go, you just can't go against Drew Brees right now, but he's gonna go. he's going. He said, "F that." Southern Miss own Kick Mullins and the 49ers. All right, he's gonna go with Nick Mullins and the 49ers. So I prefer the 49ers to win, but just based on picks, I think the Saints have the edge there. Bengals at Steelers. Yeah, I know. Like, Steelers are going to go 9-0, crown them now. But what did the Bengals do? Bengals almost upset the Colts a couple of weeks ago, remember?
Yep.
Or 3 weeks ago, whatever that was. So, I can see this being a week. Where we're crowning the Steelers to be 9-0, like we are crowning the Jets to be 0-9 right away, and I can see the Bengals.
I'm crowning Ben 16-0 with a fucking MVP, the Super Bowl, and
then Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has a career fucking game. I don't think it's gonna happen. Look, Steelers 9-0.
And then Joe Burrow eats some fucking filet gumbo and some.
I'm picking Steelers.
A little Louisiana cooking over there wakes him up with the freaking gumbo over there.
Now, next Sunday night, now, I don't know. Obviously, the Patriots didn't play yet because they play tonight. But next Sunday night, you got the Ravens at Pats. I don't like them, but you got to go Ravens.
As much as I just said, I think, what the fuck was his name?
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, thank you. As much as I said, I think Lamar Jackson is a
overrated,
prima donna, pompous little son of a bitch.
Yeah,
I'll take Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's easy.
I don't know what the hell the Patriots are doing. I mean, if they lose to the Jets, what the hell are they going to do next week?
Well, especially if they lose if the Patriots lose to the Jets tonight, then you can count them as an easy L for against the Ravens. I mean, Ravens.
If the Patriots lose to the Jets tonight, half that team should just shoot themselves.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Ravens. And then next Monday night, you have the Vikings who have been actually winning games now, starting to play like they're supposed to. And we've talked about Dalvin Cook week after week, even when they were losing. Kirk Cousins actually had a pretty good game. I mean, he only threw for 220, but he still had 3 touchdowns passing. Cook had over 206 yards with the 2 touchdowns. So that Bears, they're 3 straight. Now, a few weeks ago, I would have said Bears, hands down. But now you might have a QB controversy in Chicago again. They're talking about if Mitch is actually healthy, they might go back with Mitch Trubisky, which if I was Mitch, I'd be like, fuck you. But Nick Foles, it's hard to pick that Bears team anymore.
I'm gonna go with Minnesota. I mean, I wanted to go with Chicago. But
give me Bill Belichick and the Pats just because I hate. I get it. I trust me. Again, my picks as well, my picks, if anything, are definitely based on football and not emotion and not who I want to win. If I went based on who I want to win.
Unless the Giants are playing Philly or Dallas, I'm always going to pick the Giants to beat them.
Yeah. Because it's hard to go against. It's hard to root for.
There were games, and you know that I went against them with the Rams. They played. Yeah. I picked the Rams.
Yeah.
You know, I actually picked Philly to win that game a couple of weeks ago when they almost. They did win, but the Giants almost pulled it off. But now Minnesota, I think
it's hard. I think it's hard.
They're on a hot streak right now.
Yeah, and the Bears are going in the opposite direction.
And the Bears, they don't know what the fuck they're doing with quarterbacks now. Is it Foles? Is it Mitch? Is it Nick? Are they going to go with the third string guy? I mean, could they go with the third stringer to see what they got?
I don't know. I don't. And the thing is, and like the Jets situation as well, I don't know if it's even the quarterback. The position of the quarterback is the problem. I don't know that. I don't know if it's their defense. I really don't know what it is. But a couple of weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, I would have said Bears hands down. But because of the way the Bears are playing, the Vikings and Bears are literally going in opposite directions. The Vikings are winning, Bears are losing. Or I should go this way. Bears are losing. But then the other thing is too, and I've said this, even when the Vikings were losing, they were losing some close games. So, that being said, that's I think it's you got to go Minnesota against the Bears, and it should have been a good game. If you look at record-wise, 3-5 at 5-4, it's not really like a heavy-hitting Monday night game, but because it's a division rival, that Chicago versus Minnesota game, and because of the directions both teams are going, it should be a good game regardless. So I'm looking forward to that as well. At least it's televised. But all right. We are at almost 2 hours, so I do want to end the stream. I do want to thank Sippy for being a new subscriber and also coming on and literally talking to us for pretty much almost the whole show.
Yeah, we do appreciate it, right? Sippy, anytime, you come in, chat up with us. We love it.
Yeah.
We love it.
Earlier in the chat, we had a Not So Ordinary Jedi. They also come on. They also, show some love, and I also thank them for that as well. So Sippy, as we said, every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless there's something else that, is going on, that is our...
last week where the cat, my cat had to get some medical attention, so we had to go on a little late. Right.
So we, regardless, have a Monday show, but it's almost always 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Always. So if you want to pop in, talk to us, go over some of the other games. Like I said, the beginning of the show was always going to be about the Giants and with their win or loss. So we rant, we get it out of the way, and then we go on to the other matchups and then the matchups for the following week. That is generally the criteria, not criteria. It's on the tip of my tongue. The structure of the show, and that is it. So with that being said, thank you for coming on again. And for those of you at home that have been watching but just don't say anything, I see you. But hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and just tune in next week again for another episode of Monday Morning Quarterback with your host, Just Your Average Joe, and my co-host, Mike DiStefano. Thank you again, and I will see you next week. Have a great day.
Have a good day.